After more than a decade of walking the halls of Parliament House, he changed course and took on the world of media. From talkback radio to reality TV, David has always found a way to be heard.
And now the commentator has put pen to paper, opening up about parenting, politics and Pauline in the pages of his brand new memoir.
And David Oldfield joins us now. Hello, David.
Hi, David.
The book is called Before You Judge Me, Being David. I may have to judge you for what you're wearing on the cover. It's a black skivvy. I don't like to judge. The black skivvy, your idea, David?
I think it was a combination of ideas. I'm not entirely responsible for it, but it is my black skivvy. So
it looks good.
I'm pretty responsible.
You're less Wiggle and more Andy Warhol.
I'm the black Wiggle. Yes, the black Wiggle. That's right.
Now, this book obviously details many aspects of your life, particularly your political career, including One Nation, I guess the start of all that, and your relationship with Pauline Hanson. Just take us back to when you first met Pauline. You saved her from some drama right at the get-go, is that right?
Yeah, well, we met in a bar, essentially, and she was being, verbally and almost physically assaulted by, somebody who was just beyond the pale. I mean, no matter who it is or what gender they are, you just don't treat anybody like that. And it really was a situation of me just sort of stepping in and saying, it was somebody that I knew. I wasn't with them, but it was a political bar in Canberra and everybody was there. And so it was somebody I knew, but not somebody I was with, and I just pulled them away, and that's how we met.
Oh, where all great stories start, in a bar in Canberra. You've described working as Pauline as madness. But she's still there, David. You're not in politics anymore. She's still there. She's survived. Have things changed since...
No. And look, when people get into and actually read the book, and the book, has very serious context and perspective to it all. It describes exactly, blow by blow, fact by fact, how Pauline came to be elected in the first place, which in itself was purely accidental. There was no management involved, and much of the continuation of her career has been accidental without management. And it's just continued that way all the way through, even to the point of 2016, where you had the combination of a double dissolution, which hadn't occurred in 30 years, and you had, the situation of all of the way the Senate is elected and the way the ballot papers changed and all of the process of election changed, which once again helped them in that sense. No management, just a lot of it luck and timing. Yeah,
you speak a lot about your own, I guess, political career and aspirations. Even before One Nation and Pauline Hanson, you were the private secretary of Tony Abbott, which I guess a lot of people don't recall. But I guess, do you ever regret leaving, I guess, Tony and that position to be by Pauline's side in One Nation?
The one thing that stands with me in that always is that, yes, there are levels of regret that I did have in leaving Tony, but the fact of the matter is if I hadn't, I wouldn't have then done the things I'd done afterwards, and the most important thing that led to are my two beautiful sons. I wouldn't have met Lisa, it wouldn't have happened. Circumstances that are too wide-ranging to explain, but it's, I suppose, a sliding doors sort of scenario. If I hadn't made certain decisions, I wouldn't have moved and been in certain places at other times, and I wouldn't have my beautiful boys today. So I can't regret it. And
popping the boys to one side at the moment, because they are beautiful, but your time with Lisa has ended in a tumultuous end. You're not together anymore. Can we put that into perspective? You would come on the couch on the morning show and sparks would fly and you'd be arguing at each other. And I've got to admit, I kind of thought it might be just for the cameras.
Yeah.
It seems it wasn't.
It's one of those things where you can appreciate it's a matter in the family law court, so I can't really... It's inappropriate for me to get into too much of the details, but anybody...
But your time with Lisa's covered in the book.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, because there were lots of good times, And certainly I acknowledge all of that, and I acknowledge what has happened. And anybody who, is watching and has either been through separation or divorce will understand that it's an enormously traumatic experience, and it's a trauma for everybody, and the most important thing in all of that is the children, and you have to keep them free of that as much as you can.
But in the book you say you're not sure whether men and women are ultimately meant to be together.
Well, I think only men and men are probably meant to be together. I'm only kidding. And I cover that in the book too.
Right.
But I love the idea that we partner for life. I mean, so many animals partner for life. Some birds, as you know, some parrots fret and die when their partners die, whereas some humans celebrate when their partners die. So, you know, I love the idea. I mean, my parents were together their whole lives, you know, for 50 years or more, and I love the idea that you find somebody who you're with forever. But, you know, there are so many pressures on us these days and so many things are different, and, you know, we have so much entitlement and expectation. Things are so much more difficult than they were in the days when people met at work and got married and just lived their lives.
Well, that's the relationship side of things. And if I can ask, parenting, I mean, you describe yourself as a house husband. Did you, I guess, see to eye, you know, as far as parenting was concerned? Were you on the same page together, I guess, how you would discipline the boys and parent the boys?
No, we're different, entirely different styles of parenting. And I cover very clearly, there's a chapter, of course, on parenting in the book. And you know, I consider myself not to have been a natural father, but somebody who was in the situation.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I was a very selfish person. I was an enormously selfish person. And I do cover that in the book as well. And having children, you know, brought me into more of a scenario of understanding the selflessness that you must undertake.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
I describe, for example, that having children itself is a selfish act.
Yeah.
There's no you know, room in the sky filled with children waiting to be born. So you make the decision because you want to have them. But once you've got them,
It's all about them.
It's a 180-degree turnaround. You've got to be absolutely selfless and put
That's
them
right.
first.
We're out of time now, but apart from writing books, what are you doing with yourself now?
Well, I'm hoping to write more books, but you know,
Right.
predominantly I'm just concentrating on what I need to do from a family perspective. And
Right.
I hope people will certainly have a chance to grab a hold of the book at all good bookstores and online. Just Google David Oldfield book and find out a lot of things that may even, you know, relate to how they are in their own lives.
You're still good on the spruik. You haven't lost that.
Yes. David Oldfield's book, Before You Judge Me, Being David, is out now.